I'm gonna give you 4 key exercises to improve your lower body strength for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and we're gonna start right now. What's up everybody, it's Dane Miller from GarageStrength.com. If this is your first time to the channel and you're interested in becoming a better athlete, you wanna get more explosive and you wanna dominate your opponents on the mat, make sure that you like, you subscribe, and you ring that notification bell so we can help you become a champion. So a lot of grapplers in BJJ don't wanna go in the weight room. They don't wanna spend time doing different lifts. They're concerned that if they do leg lifts, they're gonna get too big. They're not gonna be able to execute as well as they want to when they're out on the mat. They're gonna be bulky. They think they're gonna end up being slow, and that's gonna have a hindrance on how they're performing when they're in various grappling tournaments, or even if they're participating in MMA. But if you train properly and if you have a proper periodization system, it's perfectly fine. And if you're getting in the weight room 2 to 3 days a week and you're out on the mat 5 to 6 days a week, it's gonna be a really good, your program will function synergistically so that everything that you're doing on the mat and all that strength work that you're doing to improve your leg strength is going to enhance your overall game. So that first key exercise that we like to utilize for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu athletes is going to be a split squat here, okay? And this is something I stole from a guy named Jay Schroeder. So we're gonna go split squat, nice unilateral position, which is typically where you're gonna be when you're grappling, when you're in BJJ, right? So let's say if you hit 5, 6 reps here, and then we wanna get an isometric hold right here. So we might hold this for 15, 20, 30 seconds. And then we're gonna switch, because that position is terrible. Same thing here. Split squat position, unilateral, and we wanna throw in that isometric right at the end. So we have the isometric muscular action right here, and we wanna hold this position for 15 to 30 seconds. Okay, and so utilize this unique loading to train that unilateral perspective when you're on the offensive on the mat. But on top of that, when we're talking about jiu-jitsu, there's a lot of isometric contractions. There's a lot of isometric actions that you have to go through as an athlete. And if you can factor that into your strength training, it's gonna help you later on in the match when you might be more fatigued and you're under a decent amount of stress. You're gonna be able to handle that stress more effectively. I'm out of breath. And make better decisions as a grappler. So that second key exercise that you can utilize to improve your leg strength, but also help you improve your trunk strength when you're getting out on the mat, is going to be a med ball walking lunge. And the reason why I love this is because it's forcing an isometric action throughout your entire spine, throughout your entire gut, throughout your entire trunk, right? So when you're doing that, and if you can think about if you're a wrestler or you're doing MMA or you're doing BJJ, there's oftentimes you're gonna be internally rotated, you're gonna be flexing here throughout your abs, and your trunk is gonna have a little bit of flexion as well. So you're in that position, but you're also gonna be in a unilateral position. So you've gotta be strong on both sides of your body. And that's a really key concept. And there's oftentimes in BJJ where you might be struggling to breathe, and this is going to almost mimic that, okay? So we can do walking lunges here, and I like to utilize these forward. You can go backwards. For a long duration set too. So that's another key concept, is that if we're constantly holding something here on our chest and we're working through that unilateral range of motion and we have a very long set, let's say instead of doing it from a rep perspective, we're sitting here and we're going, all right, we're gonna do a med ball hold, we're gonna go 2 minutes. We're gonna do lunges for 2 straight minutes, forward, backward for 2 straight minutes. 3 sets of that. Now, you're gonna feel stronger when you're getting into the match. You're gonna feel stronger later in the match. You'll have more leg strength. You'll have more core stability, so more trunk stability, and that's gonna carry over really well to that mat strength. So utilize this once or twice a week. It's gonna tear up your abs, it's gonna tear up your back, but it's also gonna help strengthen your entire posterior chain. That third key exercise for BJJ athletes is going to be a front squat. So a lot of athletes that are on the mat, that are doing wrestling, that are doing MMA, they'll start to shy away from doing bilateral movements, but that's a key component behind actually increasing general strength overall. And especially when we're talking about doing a front squat, almost everything that you're going to be doing is going to be front loaded. Okay, so it's really important that when you're training on the mat, you learn how to hold different positions from a bilateral perspective, and you also learn how to hold those positions from a unilateral perspective as well. And then including with that, with the front squat, it's a little bit easier to get that full range of motion. This can't be said enough when we're talking about BJJ. You have to be mobile. You have to be really mobile in your ankles. You've got to be really mobile in your lower back. You have to be extremely mobile throughout your hips while you're still holding that front loaded weight. So what we're going to like to utilize here, you can use a clean grip. My elbow, my wrist mobility is not the best, so I'm going to use a traditional bodybuilding grip. That's not bad. You can utilize either grip that you want as long as it's maintaining that front loaded perspective here. Okay. All right, hold it like this. And sometimes if we get that full range of motion, you can even hold a little bit isometric. It comes right back up. One more with an isometric. And back up. So I recommend using front squats once a week. We're going to push your strength a little bit more so you can load it up, you can get a little bit heavier and try and get a little bit stronger. And then the second time in the week, maybe you sit there, you go a little bit lighter, 60%, and you just go really, really high duration. Focus on squeezing your abs and keeping that upright spine. Okay, that fourth key exercise is going to be an exercise that's going to drastically improve your hip mobility, the mobility throughout your lower back. And then as you get stronger, you can start to use weights in different positions to try and strengthen your thoracic spine, to try and improve your trunk stability. And so that exercise that every single BJJ athlete should be doing is going to be, let's see, we'll grab this, is going to be a Caustic Squat. So if I'm sitting here, what a Caustic Squat will look like is I want to get my left butt cheek over my left calf, okay, over my left ankle. So I'm getting nice and deep here. I'm going to drive up, come back over, come back up. And then as we work through the sets here, we can go a little bit heavier and we can even pause down in the bottom, okay, and start to widen those feet even further to get that good mobility. So if we can think about, it's extremely important to be mobile on the mat so you can make a little bit quicker moves, you can adjust a little bit quicker, but also if you yourself, you're in a precarious position and you have that mobility, it's a little bit easier to defend that position and hold your opponent off. So utilize Caustic Squats once or twice a week. I like to even utilize them for all of our wrestlers or MMA guys as a warm-up almost every single day to help mobilize those hips. So utilize these once or twice a week. One day you can focus on heavier load. The next day you can focus on just working that mobility perspective, but it's going to drastically improve that hip mobility, and that's going to carry over really well to the mat. If you need help with your strength training around BJJ, you can click on the link down below, head over to garagestrength.com, and you can pick up our 12-week BJJ strength training program. If you want any more content around training for grip strength or anything else in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, click on this card right here. Until next time, guys, peace.